Welcome to part 3.
And so they're coming again. This time there's not going to be because they're not going to. We're not going to have a choice, you see, because those ladies that are online now that remember my lectures from 9 and 10 years ago, and 11 years ago, they haven't changed. I said, if we don't go to Israel now, if we leave to Israel now, it'll be a red carpet. And after a while, it's not going to be easy to get to Israel. And now, it's getting more and more difficult to get to Israel, let alone move to Israel. Okay? And it was a miracle that I could actually walk my talk. Okay? That Shira and I were able to do this thing. It happened. It was strictly a gift of God. To find to find an apartment that actually found us, because it was destined for us to be here. The owner of the apartment had a dream about us, and he said, "All right, I know who you are. You're here. Okay, we can do it. I need to build a yeshiva anyway, so take the apartment." And this is what it's all about. This is what we have to appreciate. To appreciate destiny. Destiny is Kabbalah. Okay? We have a way to influence our own destinies. By what? The number one characteristic, okay, in creation for a human being is desire. For us to desire. That's the main word in Kabbalah, is desire. Okay? After the word restriction. Okay? Restriction. Now, so here we are. We had Rabbi Akiva and his army, and these 24,000, they died. The Romans killed them. They didn't die from a plague. They died during, right after Passover. They died during the Omer. And so we like mourn them, and we do a thing. But it's, what can I say? It's an upside down world, and now we can all agree to that. What's been happening? It's the world has become upside down. It's like the righteous are being scrutinized, and the bad guys are being, honored. And this, you can't argue. You can't argue this. So the point is, with the real power, where's the real power? In the real Holy Grail, the Zohar. Okay? And in order to get this thing going, we have to really, I have to explain that there are many different classes there in the States teaching Kabbalah. You have the center, and you have this great teacher. His name is Joel David Bast, B-A-S-K-T, in Colorado Springs, Colorado, outside of Denver. He's a brilliant teacher. It's called a City of Luz, Luz.com. Okay, brilliant teacher. And he's an actual a 10th generation nephew of the Gaon of Vilna, who, by the way, the Gaon of Vilna, I was brought up in Kabbalah. Understand, this guy was he was an opponent of Kabbalah. Okay, he was an opponent of Hasidus, and whatever he was. Then I find out this man was an absolute genius. In English, his English name was Eliyahu Kramer. Okay, and he is known for his Kramer's principle of mathematics. That actually was the number one helper of putting everybody in space and putting everybody into advanced mathematics, because Kramer's principle of mathematics goes interdimensional. Everything I'm relating here is going interdimensional and intergalactic. We don't know, because the powers that be don't want us to know of a galactic existence, of our friends that are 35 light years away. And I'll tell you, here's the first thing I learned, because in Kabbalah, was that the worlds were 500 years apart. And I said to myself, what are we talking about? What's 500 years apart? How can worlds be years apart? I didn't get it. But then, a few years ago, like I said, wait a minute. When somebody told me that the Pleiades was 480 some odd light years away, and the population was like 660,000 on the planet of the Pleiades. We say, where'd you get that information? I got it from a celestial source, and celestial sources are honest. But moving right along, you have to. In order to know it, you got to feel it. Okay, you got to feel it to know it. And when you feel it, man or ladies, you know it. Because the chill bumps are going wild. You're melting. The tears are coming down. We're just welling up all over. You don't know why the tears are coming down, but you're just melting into love, into unconditional love. And this is the environment that brings into a celestial knowledge. It's a celestial environment. When you can give charity to somebody you really dislike, okay, for the sake of doing the mitzvah, all right, that's what brings in. You want to connect to angels, you got to act like an angel, okay. And this is Kabbalah, okay. It's not about reading somebody's interpretation of the Zohar, because that's it's statistics. It's wonderful to try to understand the different letters of Hashem and the different letter combinations and the names, the 72-letter name and the 63-letter name and the 45 and the 52. This is wonderful. Well, that's how I was brought into it. But then I got into a, quote, galactic perspective, a cosmic perspective. And then what happened? I inherited a galactic neurosis. That's what happened. And it couldn't hurt. And it's not easy. It's not easy. I'm just using that. I'm bringing it into as a comedy thing, a galactic neurosis. It's very real, and eventually you're going to see that everybody's talking about this disclosure thing, to disclose the fact that they were aliens. So what are they talking about? Everybody's the aliens are the bad guys. They're the Greys and their abductions, and this is all Kabbalah. I'm giving you a perspective of Kabbalah you ain't never heard before. Okay? And yes, these Greys, they are losing their whole existence, and they need to hybrid, and there are, of the 33 species that are known to mankind, to those chosen ones that know the 33 species, only 4 of the species are bad guys. Okay, you have 20. Well, for the sake of simplicity, 26. At least 26 are really good guys, because 26 is the number of the tetragrammaton, Yud Kei Vav Kei. Okay? At least 26 of these species are angelic, are good guys, and want the best for us. Okay? And here's the thing. I'm giving you the whole thing up front so you'll understand why we're going to deal with the next few classes are going to be in this. I'm giving you sort of the upfront and the fast forward. And then we're going to use the next classes are going to be flashbacks. Okay? So what's going on here today? What's going on in our world? Okay, we see that, first of all, nobody wants us to hear anything. The media is in the hands of the people in control. So we're not hearing any truth at all. And as you can see, what's happening in America is happening all over the world. Okay, where all of a sudden you're seeing a little, takeovers of here and there, and control about this and that, and whatever it is that I don't want to get into it because I have to dance on this tightrope of Lashon Hara. I don't want to have to do Lashon Hara and deal with Ayin Hara, because you all know what I told that that's what we all have in common. Everybody on this line knows Lashon Hara and Ayin Hara. So I don't have to talk about that, but I'm trying to dance around it so you because we all know about this. I'm not telling you anything about the reality, about the physicality that you don't already know. Okay? You don't already know that. We all know this. I'm just trying to give you a logical, let's keep it the real general word, spiritual, diagnosis, a spiritual explanation or a spiritual expansion of light force energy, which is pure Kabbalah. Okay, all right. Because I'm thinking to myself, I didn't know how I was going to express this evening or this morning, but that's the whole point. It's all about why he held the mountain over our heads, because nobody really wants to study Zohar. Even those that study Gemara and they study all day, they studied 14 hours a day. Wouldn't it be great at least to give a half hour or 45 minutes to a Zohar? But it's very rare. It's very, very rare. Okay? And that's why he held up the mountain over our heads, because of what's going on today. Now, everybody, think of what's going to happen. Think of, there are many, many parts of this Holy Land depend on the Jews from America, from England, from South Africa, from Russia, and all these Jews. They support all their brethren here in Jerusalem and the rest of Eretz Yisrael. But what's going to happen in the next 90 days when all of a sudden everything crashes? And the Chinese, man, they're brilliant. They are so brilliant. Because their yuan was the smallest little nothing on the planet. Their monetary value was like nothing. And because this nothing, they decided to devalue a nothing, everything else is falling like dominoes because of this nothing being devalued. How far can you devalue nothing? That's amazing. It's amazing. And what really is freaking out, which is the reason why you saw that big explosion in China, is because what really freaks out the financiers in America is that China is going to junk bond all the entire multi-trillion-dollar debt is going to be, and the junk bond market is like nothing. So they know the dominoes are going to fall. And why? Remember that question? That the only question we really ask is why? Why is this going to happen? Why? Because we are meant to start. It's about time we started leaving the desire for physicality, the desire for the buck, and start thinking the desire to serve our Father and to serve our brothers and sisters and be their brothers' keepers and just be self-sustaining with unconditional love for our brothers and sisters. Because everybody is so taken up with desiring physicality that they've forgotten their original deal before we came down here, which was to take care of our fellow man so that we can graduate out of this hellhole. No matter how pretty we think we're living, and no matter what size house, from 1,000 square feet to 10,000 square feet, it's a matchbox. Some matchboxes are a little bit bigger than others. But what's the purpose? The purpose is to graduate out of here. And the only way to graduate is to share and to serve. Now, these are the main two goals in Kabbalah. I mean, while you're doing this, yes, it's nice to learn about the letters and the spiral. And the spiral, the ways these letters spiral is just like the genes and the chromosome chain in our DNA. The DNA is pure Kabbalah. Okay, we're going to get into some of that DNA in the next couple of classes. To understand DNA. And when people are talking about DNA, we're going from a 2-chain to a 4-chain to an 8-chain to a 12-chain. Yes, but the chains are already there. We just have to be aware of it. And also what is really Kabbalah? Kabbalah is our auric surroundings, our aura, our auric membrane, which the metaphysicians call a cosmic egg. Okay? This This is Kabbalah.
This is the end of Part 3. Please continue to Part 4.